Motzei Shabbos Kodesh, Slichos. My inner feelings really want to say tonight, Shechiyanu, Vikimanu, Vigiyanu Lasman Hazeh. And I think that's not just my feelings. I think Gans Klal Yisrael tonight, different than every year, you want to say Shechiyanu, Vikimanu, Vigiyanu Lasman Hazeh. That Rosh Hashanah has finally come. Because we all know since October 7th, since Simchas Torah, our hearts are full of such pain. Our cheeks absorb so many tears just thinking about Nebuch Achenu B'nai Yisrael held hostage, Rahman Litzlan. In the most inhumane conditions, held hostage by animals. How can't we forget about them, how much pain those cost us? And just think about thousands of Yidden that are homeless and displaced on the north and south in Eretz Yisrael. Rahman Litzlan. I have some family of Bnei Brak. They have a 2-bedroom home with 10 kids, and they took in another family with 11 kids. And this is going on for months and months all over Eretz Yisrael. People displaced. How many Yidden don't have Parnasa because of the situation in Eretz Yisrael? And unfortunately, Klal Yisrael, like we saw last night, we're all targets for abuse. Wherever Yid walks, Rahman Litzlan, every Yid looks at him and stares at him. We lived through it last night. We got a first-hand experience what went on a few blocks away. So now that Slichos comes, Rosh Hashanah comes, we should all scream out, Shechiyanu, Vikimanu, Vigiyanu, Lasman Hazeh. The only thing that can stop this sorrows is Rosh Hashanah. And let me share with you a fascinating mashal from Simcha Bunim and Peshischa. And I think this year this mashal has even a deeper understanding. There was a king who had a very challenging child. He rebelled against any resemblance of royalty. He wanted no responsibility, nothing. And it came to a point that the king had to expel him from the palace. And for years he's wandering around from town to town. You can imagine what he looked like walking around with torn clothes. But he got acclimated. That was his life. Every night sleeping in a different place. The king, being his father, felt so bad after years and years. And he sent one of his servants. And he told him, give over a message to my son. Tell my son I love him dearly. I'll do whatever he wants. Whatever he asks me, let him make a wish, and I'll grant it to him. And the servant goes, and he finds his son in some town, and he asks him, your father loves you. What do you want? He'll give you whatever you want. And he says, the winters are so cold. Look at my coat. I want a fur-lined warm coat. This servant comes back to the king, and the king starts crying. I offered him everything, but he acclimated to being out of the palace, to living on the street. That's what he became. So nothing means anything to him, just a fur coat. Zokta Peshischa, that's our Rosh Hashanah. We're off it, a Rosh Hashanah of opportunity. We can go home. That's our choice on Rosh Hashanah. But the obvious question is, what does that mean, going home on Rosh Hashanah? What does that mean? Are we going to Eretz Yisrael? Is Mashiach coming? Are we changing our location? What does home mean? What did the Pashischa mean by saying we're going to go home? So the answer could be, when we look in our tefillas, on every yontif, they usually capture the essence of what yontif is. When it comes to Rosh Hashanah, we look at the tefillas. We discuss how one day the Rabbeinu Shalom will rule the whole world. The whole world will acknowledge and feel the Rabbeinu Shalom is our Rabbeinu Shalom. And every creation will be a light. The Rabbeinu Shalom will shine through him. will see the Rebbeinu Shalom every inch on this world. To the degree v'chein tzadikim yir v'yismachu v'yisham yaloizu will come to such high levels. How do we connect to that? If that's the essence of Rosh Hashanah, how do we connect to that? How do we connect to such big madregas? We are who we are. How can we connect to it? So the answer is, there's a famous Ramchal. Ramchal says something spectacular. He says, on the 2 days Rosh Hashanah, we enter a different world. The world of the Rebbeinu Shalom. We disconnect. Erev Rosh Hashanah, we say Tfilas Haderech, we're going into a different world. Like the Gemara alludes to this, when we blow shofar, we're going Lifnai v'Lifnim. We go into different levels. The Medrash says, L'David Hashem, Ori is Rosh Hashanah, it's a different world. It's not this world. And we're in the Rebbeinu Shalom's world. And our avodah on Rosh Hashanah is to absorb that world, the ruchnius that it offers. And the objective is, just like on a Yontif Pesach, when we discuss Amunah and we leave the Yontif of Pesach saturated with Amunah, that if somebody has a challenge in his saying deep in the middle of the winter, he has his Pesach to keep him going, the Amunah absorbed by Pesach. So too, we have to take away the Rebbeinu Shalom's world from Rosh Hashanah and bring it to this world. But what does that mean, the Rebbeinu Shalom's world? And what does that mean, taking the Rebbeinu Shalom's world and bringing it back after Rosh Hashanah? When one wakes up the day after Rosh Hashanah, his moidani l'fanecha should be different. You should realize you owe the Rebbeinu Shalom. When you put on your tzitzis in your morning, you'll feel your tzitzis reminding you of all the mitzvahs. When you leave your house, you kiss that mezuzah, you'll realize, yeah, the Rebbeinu Shalom is going with me. When you come to davening, you envision the Rebbeinu Shalom there. When it comes to Tkiyah Shofar, you sit there and you realize there's something special happening now. It's not just another ritual. Yiddishkeit, Yadus, Ruchnis, it becomes alive to you. The Rebbeinu Shalom becomes an entity to you. And not just in Ruchnius, in our whole life. We feel true happiness, we're content. We feel good about ourselves. We appreciate every minute of the day. Time doesn't become a challenge. It becomes something we love and we appreciate because we can get closer and closer to the Rebbeinu Shalom. We're not worried about jealousy, what the other person says, because we're in a different world. And that light that we take after Rosh Hashanah of the Rebbeinu Shalom in our day-to-day life, how much light that brings to this world, how much light, how much sorrows that light holds back. And those that do go through tzaras, how much that light will help them, that they'll be able to deal with the tzaras in a lighter way. But of course, the obvious question is, we've done Rosh Hashanah so many times, and nothing has changed. We've done it year after year. This sounds glitzy, beautiful, Rosh Hashanah, wow! Opportunity, we can absorb such ruchnis, become another person, wow, wow, wow! But we did it so many times, and nothing changed. What is that key to open us up to this tremendous world of opportunity of Rosh Hashanah? This tremendous time that intrinsically we can change to be a different human being. The answer is, Chazal tell us, to Yerushalmi that tells us, in the parshas that discuss the Karbanos, usually the Torah says, V'hikraftem. On Rosh Hashanah it says, V'asisem. So the Yerushalmi understands that to mean that every Yid on Rosh Hashanah is a korban. What does that mean? Every Yid on Rosh Hashanah is a korban. What does that mean? What's the definition? And the answer is, like Rabbeinu B'Peshischa said, we have a choice on Rosh Hashanah to continue our last year's life engulfed in darkness, directed by the Hatorah, chasing every taiva, or we can pick the world of the Rebbeinu Shalom. A new world, a world of tranquility, a world of growth, a world of reality. It's our choice. It's our decision what type of world we want. But it's not an easy decision. Like I said over in Yeshiva, you can give yourself a litmus test. Let's say I give you a pill, and on the spot you can become an Erlich Yid with Cheshik and davening and learning. Before you take the pill, you would ask me 50 questions. What's going to happen after the pill? Who's my friends going to be? Am I going to have restrictions? What's life going to look at after the pill? I'm giving you a pill that when you absorb this pill, you'll be a different person. You'll be a ruchniistic yid. But we'll all have 50 questions. The pill is Rosh Hashanah. The decision is ours. The decision is difficult. Because when we do Averis, we don't just do Averis, we do something wrong. It damages us. It disconnects us. It changes the reality. It hides our identity. That's what Averis do. Averis change one's reality. It hides one's identity. So decisions become so much more difficult. I'm offering you a Rosh Hashanah, a pill. Take it. Absorb it. Internalize it. Your life will be so much easier. Make a din b'chesh for yourself. What's your life now? What does every day look like? Take a video machine of what your day looks like. But it's still a hard decision. Because the Averis taint us. They take reality and they spin it. They take your identity and they hide it. But we have Rosh Hashanah. But we have a hard decision. And most of us haven't made the decision yet. So that's why Chazal understood. They gave us Slichos. Slichos. We're not used to hearing something about Slichos. It's just something we say in the morning, that's it. Slichos is something. It's an afterthought. But Chazal tell us what are Slichos. Because just like we discussed, we're a carbon. Every carbon, 4 days before the carbon, a person has to check his behemoth if there's any permanent damage on the behemoth. That's what Slichos is about. We have to see our Averis we did, and we all did Averis. Is that who we are? Did the Averis define us? Or the Averis are just a weaker moment we have? Those Averis that damaged us, are they really our essence? Is it our passion, or are they just weaker moments we have? There's a famous Rabbi Yerucham Levovitz from there. He says after the ego of Moshe Rabbeinu came down, Targum Unkala says that Klal Yisrael cried, danced and cried. And the Mefarshim ask, it doesn't say in the Torah they cried. So Rabbi Yerucham says something fascinating. Once Klal Yisrael is makabel the Torah, it's not possible for a Yid to do an Aveira 100%. That's who we are. When we do Aveira, it's a weaker moment. The Reb Zush used to say over Rahman Litzon, when we do an Aveira, we create Be'ed Malachim. He said he never saw such a malach with all his organs. Because a Yid never does his Aveira with the ganze Haaretz. And that's our avoida on Slichos. To search deep in ourselves. To be embarrassed of our Averis. That we let that lead us, identify us, direct us, give us an identity. We're so embarrassed when we look back at that picture. At that video of our whole year, we're so embarrassed. And that's what Slichos is, a bridge to this fascinating day of Rosh Hashanah, that we have to make a decision. Are we electing the Rabbeinu Shalom or are we electing the Yitzhahara? And that decision is so difficult because we're so enmeshed with our Averis. And we have our Slichos to go through our Averis and realize it's not us. And then when we start realizing that it's not us, there's a fascinating Baal Shem Tov. Baal Shem Tov says, it might not seem as fascinating when you hear it, but if you take a step back, it's much deeper. He gives a beautiful mashal. You know what tshuva is? Tshuva is when you put a candle in a dark room. As soon as you put the candle in a dark room, the darkness goes away. So too by us, when we start doing tshuva, we see who we really are. The darkness, the Averis, the residue of the Averis start evaporating. and that candle shines. And we see the real Yid. The Yid that it says, Kedoshim Tiyu, and the Medrash says, Yachol Kemaini. There's a happening in the Medrash that every Yid is like the Rabbeinu Shalom. Every Yid has the Shechina B'Soicham. That's the Yid we see. Once we start digging in our Averis and we realize, Lanu Boishis Aponim, it's not us. It's weaker moments. Then all of a sudden we see this magnificent light of who we are. That's why, if you notice, when we go through Slichos, it always bothered me. Here we tell the Rabbeinu Shalom, Gedola, Mecharashim, Rabbeishis Panim. Then right after that we ask the Rabbeinu Shalom, please be Makar of us. Please love us. It seems a little paradox. Here we're telling the Rabbeinu Shalom, we did the worst of the worst, we say during Slichos. Then right after that we finish that stanza with, please love us. The Torah says, yes, it works hand in hand. When we realize the Averis, the impact, how it damages us, and that is not us. That was a weaker moment. And then like the Baal Shem Tov says, you see the light. You see who we are. And who we are, we want to be close to the Rebbeinu Shalom. We belong being close to the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's the power of Slichos. The power of Slichos is when we realize what our Averis did to us, and we don't let our Averis rob our identity. We don't let our Averis rob our reality. Then we can come to a Gavaldika Rosh Hashanah, and then Taka, we can have something special on Rosh Hashanah. We have the yontif of opportunity of Rosh Hashanah, a yontif that we can gain so much on Rosh Hashanah. It's a choice on Rosh Hashanah, but it's a tremendous, tremendous opportunity. Slichos, the avoid of Slichos is to believe in ourselves. The avoid of Rosh Hashanah is to believe in the special magic of Rosh Hashanah. That's the avoid of Rosh Hashanah. Believe in the special magic that the Rebbeinu Shalom gave us. Slichos, the avoid is to believe in ourselves. Rosh Hashanah, the avoid is to believe in the special magic. And if we realize in such a year of tzaris how we need Rosh Hashanah, we'll believe in Rosh Hashanah. But it first starts with Slichos, believing yourself. Going through everyday Slichos and chipping away at those Averis and realize those Averis don't identify who we are. The reality is that's not who we are. And realize as soon as you start chipping away, like the Baal Shem Tov says, we see the light, how beautiful we are. And then Taka, our Rosh Hashanah, the choice we have in Rosh Hashanah. The Rebbeinu Shalom's world. Who are we electing Rosh Hashanah, our election day? The Rebbeinu Shalom is going to run our lives, or the Yetzirah. Then we can pick the Rebbeinu Shalom and take Rosh Hashanah like we take Pesach Hamun all year round. We can take Rosh Hashanah, the Rebbeinu Shalom world, with us all year round and live like different Yidden. Just want to share with you a quick, it's late, but just this quick point. I said it over in Yeshiva. There's a fascinating story. And this should shed the light. We're discussing Slichos, Rosh Hashanah. We've never really been exposed up till now to a real Slichos, to a real Rosh Hashanah. This is a fascinating story. There was a dentist in Hatorah at 60 years old. He became a Baal Tshuva, which was fascinating because Balei Tshuva become Balei Tshuva at a younger age, teenage, 20s, maybe 30s. And the second thing that was fascinating about him was usually that's something unbelievable that happened in their life, either a difficulty or something else, and that triggers them to go back to Rebbeinu Shalom. This person had a very successful dentistry. He was making plenty of money. And one day he decided to become Baal Tshuva. And they asked him, what triggered you? Listen to what his answer was. And this message, remember, for this year, the whole Shani and Kippur. He said over, when did I make my decision to become a dentist? When I left high school at 18 years old. And my whole life revolves around the decision I made at 18 years old. There must be something wrong. And that caused him to do Tshuva. Ruchnius, our Avodas Hashem, our Slichos, Roshani and Kippur should revolve around what our teachers told us in elementary school. We have to make it different, grow, give it a more mature understanding. Up to now, Slichos just meant, oh, I'm tired, I have to get up in the morning, I say some Slichos and that's it. Now we realize Slichos is not something you say, Slichos is something you live. Slichos is not just something you live, Slichos is a bridge. It's a prerequisite for Rosh Hashanah. Without a Slichos, we compromise on our Rosh Hashanah. On a Slichos, we realize to believe in ourselves. Not letting the Averis identifying rob our identity and the reality. And we chip away every day with every Hashem, with every Achet, with everything we say, we chip away at that. And hand in hand when we're chipping away, we're seeing the light of the Rebbeinu Shalom. We're seeing how special we are, like the Baal Shem Tov says. And then we come into Rosh Hashanah. We come in like a carbon the way we're supposed to come in, like we're ready to make that decision on election day, Rosh Hashanah. Is it the Rebbeinu Shalom or is it the Yetzer Hara? So the Rebbeinu Shalom Health and Taka, we should all internalize this and we should have a Gavaldik Yemei Slichos. And like I said at the beginning, on such a year that we went through such sorrows, which year today is not screaming Shechiyanu Vikimanu, that we finally came to Rosh Hashanah, we can end all the sorrows of the year. And remember when we say in davening Rosh Hashanah, V'titein lanu Hashem Elokeinu b'ahava. He gave us Rosh Hashanah with love. It's a Yom Adin. B'ahava, because there's so much opportunity. It's saturated. Every yontif we perfect an element of us. But on Rosh Hashanah, our whole beings, Chazal said, becomes a Bria Chadasha. So the Bayin Shem helping, we should all be Zoichet, Taksivach, Simatov, and a good Gebench.